and again having them up against cabinet ways, which we'll show you all that when we go into spray. So usually when we come in for the first treatment for perimeter pests, come knock on the door. We'll let them know like, hey, Josh, are you good with me coming in for your first treatment? Andy, our office manager, is good about letting them know like, hey, they come in the first treatment treat. Again, sometimes they don't want to. We have these little booties here. I recommend them. Again, you might not be your first stop of the day. Boots get dirty. So you have these, and we just cover your boots. You do have to be careful with these. These are, even though they have the padding right there, they still make you slippery. And some floors are different than others, like tile and laminate and all that stuff. So we'll put these on, and then we go in and survey. You can buy your employees little lights. I use my phone light. It's just easier, and again, having it in my pocket, I'm also able to take pictures and record video at the same time, depending on the customer's issue. So it's easier that way.
Now, are you hitting each level, or are you just doing lower level?
Hitting each level. For the first treatment, yes, because again, the whole point of doing the initial spray on the inside is to take care of the insects that are already inside the house.
So
and a lot of yep, bedrooms and everything. You've got to be aware of where you're spraying. Dog toys, kids toys, you want to stay away from that. You'll see when we go up to Hudson's room, I barely spray anywhere. I just get the windowsills in Hudson's room, maybe the doorway going in, because don't want to spray kids' toys. You want to use different products on the inside of the house. We use Suspend SC usually. Suspend SC is the same thing as Suspend Polyzone, except it doesn't have the adhesion technology. So it's good to go inside. We just put maybe at most 0.7 in this whole thing. This was the Delta Dust. I know we were talking about that earlier. This is mainly for exterior, but just before I forget bringing it up. So this is what you'll apply to your duster head. If you're having issues with spiders and all that stuff. It works on other things. It works on hornets and bees and all that, or mud daubers and all that, yeah. But you can apply it to the ground too. This is good for drains. Even though it says the label's good for drains, we haven't had the need to use it. So there's that. Talk about monitoring stations. We have this granular here. Like I said, when we're going around the perimeter of the house outdoors, we're using this. We also have this granular here, insect granular bait. You can apply this on the outside as well. The reason why it's super important to ask the customer what they are dealing with. So we have ant gel bait, cockroach gel bait. So if you're having an issue with cockroaches, you don't really want to use the ant gel bait, right? Like you actually want to be using the products that are targeted for those insects. So that's why it's good to ask. When using this, you got to be careful using fairly matchstick size dots in multiple areas. So you're not putting like a nickel size, it's like that big dots in multiple areas. Hinges of cabinets are good, little corners and stuff like that. So that's why it's also important to know where they're at. So yeah, that's what they look like, different tips and all that stuff. There's different brands. It's the ones that we've been using.
What are those, Syngenta and MGK?
Yep. Yeah, you want to be careful. This can get messy. Be careful with this. We're not doing residential rodent. We're only doing it for commercial for different reasons. Nicole, Josh's wife, is a vet tech. And I care about animals too, but she doesn't want like a cat getting a rodent that's, had the product and stuff and all that. So we're just telling you what we're doing. So we're not going to be going over rodent stations today.
Is that a concern with them? Actually ingesting that poison to that bait?
Yeah, I learned more at Hunterpalooza and stuff for rodent stuff, but we're still just as far as
how likely are you able to actually tie that back if that's the reason why the cat died?
Yeah, it has happened, but yeah, we're just not offering it to residential and all that. It's just, I guess, liability concerns. We are offering it to commercial for any of the restaurants that we enroll in apartments and stuff. But
we have had one incident. I went and sprayed a lady's yard for flea and no-see-ums, and at the time we didn't realize that the pet needs to stay off the grass for 24 hours. So within about an hour, she let her pet outside. He started eating this grass. Ended up, she had to take him to the vet because it was upsetting his stomach.
Was it a cat or dog?
It was a dog. It was a small poodle.
Cats, you got to be careful. They
Cats
can be
are
very
a higher
sensitive.
risk if they're out there.
Which the
Cats.
dog was eating the grass, which is an
Now,
issue.
is that the same for flea and tick? If you're
So
Keep in
whenever
mind,
we do a
it's
flea,
heavy in the grass too.
Yeah.
You're like soaking it.
so when we're doing a flea or a no-see-em treatment on a property, and we know they have an animal, what I do is I write a note, which they get an email too, and it's on there. Please keep your pets off the grass for 24 hours. Sometimes you can't do that. But usually when you're up front with the customer, like, hey, it's non-harmful, it's just going to give them an upset tummy, especially your dog's like gnawing on it, you know. So we're up front with customers about that. We receive a automated phone call and email the night before, right? So whenever the technician's en route to the property, that's when we'll shoot them a text. And we use Grasshopper, so via Grasshopper, we'll text the customer like, good morning, Josh, this is Robby with Mosquito Hunters. I'm en route to your property and we'll arrive within 20 minutes. We give them a time frame. Again, so they can let the dogs out, give us also time to answer, like send us a question or concern, stuff like that. We've had issues in the past where, like this Josh's neighborhood, we have a lot of customers in this neighborhood. So we've had issues in the past where certain employees were quoting 10 minutes, you know, or 8 minutes, you know. So starting this year is like minimum 20. So what we'll do is, just an example, like we treat Josh's neighbor right here. If I'm treating Josh's property, and I already did my survey, I know I'm going to be good, I'll quote him 40 minutes, knowing it's going to take me 20, 30 to treat this. So just an example there. So we'll text one route, like, hey, good morning, Josh, Robby with Mosquito Hunters. I'm en route to your property, I'll arrive within 20 minutes. When we arrive, check, make sure if they message us about anything, like, oh, sorry, gate's locked, can't treat, you know, different variables of that, or, oh, come see me when you arrive. Every time we arrive to the property, we'll always knock on the door, unless the customer will text us, or it's actually in the technician notes, like, hey, please don't knock, I'll work from home, baby's sleeping, different situations like that. So we'll go to the door, knock. So whenever I come to the door, I'll knock. I'm counting in my head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the time I'm getting to 5, I'm slowly starting to walk away. Whenever I'm going to survey the property, I'll, depending on the treatment, like for instance, Josh's treatment today, we're doing perimeter pest, mosquito, and a no-see-em treatment. So if I'm looking at what treatments I'm going to do, I'm going to have my stuff with me. So knowing I'm going to do perimeter first, I'm going to grab my duster, and that's what I'm also going to survey at the same time. I'm also going to keep larvicide for mosquitoes in my back pocket. So while I'm surveying and dusting, I'm going to be looking around, you know, okay, I see a little bit of standing water, I'll apply larvicide, different larvicides depending on the area you're at. So we'll do that. When we get to a property, like I mentioned before on the inside for Josh's, if they have multiple treatments, there's definitely a science and art about which ones you're doing in order. You don't want to do a flea no-see-em treatment first, knowing you're going to be walking back and forth on the grass. You want to save that one for last, because less walking on it, less likely the product to rub off or go away. So if there's those big 3, I always do perimeter first, like I said, so you're dusting and also surveying at the same time, and you're also not wiping away the mosquito treatment. So we'll dust, go all the way around, come back around, double check anything, and that's when we're going to go around with granular. So we'll go in with our handheld granular, applying granular all around the mulch beds, knowing that it's perimeter pest and flea no-see-em. We're hitting all the mulch beds on the property. So we're hitting that again, staying away from the water. So we'll go around, apply to mulch beds, go all the way around, and then we come back. It's a lot of walking, definitely at least 3 sweeps for perimeter pests. Then we'll come back, and that's when we get our backpack electric sprayer. And that's when we're going to hit 2 feet up. What we do is 2 feet up, 2 feet down. So we're coming here, going like this. Anyways, walkways up for spiders to go up. We're hitting this here, hitting around garage doors, looking around, seeing if we're noticing anything. Trying to hit up here depending on what they're dealing with, coming down. Like so. Watching out for windows. So you don't want to stay in a window or a customer complain like, oh, my window's dirty. So we gotta go around doors, all that stuff. Watching out for kids' toys, like we got Hudson stuff right here. Might even pull that out to the side depending on what it is. If you know it's not gonna break or you're not worried about it or you've done that before with your customer, just go ahead and move it. Doormats, I move those out of the way and then I'll move them back when I'm done with everything. So yeah, you're going around the whole property with that for perimeter pests. Again, looking around all the time, always being aware of your surroundings. Sometimes the dog gets out, watching out for kids' toys, the way the wind's blowing, all that stuff. So after you're done with perimeter pests, then we're going to come back and we're going to do a mosquito treatment. That's when we're going to attack the foliage. So we'll be sitting here in the bushes, watching out for blooming flowers, also hitting the side of the house. With perimeter pests today, we're using Scion. Scion actually works for mosquitoes. So the areas that you're spraying with perimeter pests, you don't have to worry about hitting as much with mosquitoes. It's okay that if you do hit it, but if you're already using a product that targets both insects, why do you need to hit it a second time? Save you money, you know. So you're hitting here, so we're hitting the side of the building, hitting any brush and stuff like that for mosquito, going all the way around. Again, looking for larvicide spots to apply larvicide for breeding grounds for mosquitoes. After the mosquito treatment, we'll come back and we'll grab our electric sprayer again for flea no-see-em. Every property is different, but for Josh's, just for me knowing to do it, you want to start in the back and end in the front, least likely for you to walk around. Also, when you're doing your initial survey, I know Josh, from him being a customer, that he has dogs, he has kids. I'm going to look for any toys sit in the grass. I'm going to pick them up and put them in an area that I know I'm not going to spray. Usually we do have customers that are good about picking up most of their stuff, and they'll even warn us like, hey, sorry, didn't have time today, knowing that we deal with that. We even had customers like, hey, sorry, there's a lot of dog poop in the yard, haven't had time to pick it up, so you always want to be aware of that. Come up to a property, you notice the garage door is open. Hey, Josh, notice your garage door is open, da-da-da. Most of the time they'll be able to close it, or they'll ask us to close it, or just got to spray around it because you want to be spraying into someone's garage. There you go. To remain cool. So we have our coolers. Make sure the intercare satchels stay cold. So we have coolers in the van. Throw intercare satchel in. We have ice packs. Throw them in. They just have to remain cool. So try to keep them out of direct sunlight too.
Now do you take them in at night?
Yes, I take them in at night and I'll throw it in my bottom drawer in my fridge, and then I throw this in the freezer. And the reason why we have these coolers is that they're more compact, so it's easier to keep stored. Because these things, what will happen is like, and also when you're going to set up an indicator, you want to pop it a few times, get everything down to the bottom. So if you don't do that, you open it, it explodes. You'll notice if these aren't remain cool, it'll get real clunky.